I caught my husband living a parallel life, and the truth was worse than cheating. I still wake up some mornings and check the other side of the bed like he might be there. He isn't. Hasn't been for 7 months. The house is quieter now, which is both a relief and a constant reminder that the life I thought I had was a carefully maintained performance. My name is Elena. I'm 34. I live in a mid-sized American suburb that looks exactly like every other mid-sized American suburb. 2-car garage, decent schools, neighbors who wave but don't ask too many questions. I work as a project coordinator for a mid-level logistics company. Nothing glamorous. My husband, Mark, was a regional sales manager for a medical supply company. We met in college, got married at 26, bought the house at 29. No kids yet. We kept saying next year. We had the usual arguments about money, whose turn it was to cook, whether we should get a dog. Ordinary, boring even. I thought that was the point, stability. It started with the little things that never feel little until you line them up. Mark began working later. First 1 night a week, then 2, then I might just crash at the Marriott near the airport if the client dinner runs long. I stopped questioning it after a while. He still texted good morning, still brought home Thai food on Fridays, still kissed me on the forehead when he came in. The forehead kiss should have been the first real warning. It felt like something you do to a relative. Then the second phone appeared. I found it by accident on a Tuesday in March. Mark had left his work bag open on the kitchen island while he showered. I was looking for the charger for my laptop because mine had died mid-spreadsheet. Inside the bag, under a folder of sales reports, was a black iPhone in a cheap clear case. Not his usual phone. Not the one that sat on the nightstand charging every night. This one had no lock screen photo of us on vacation in Maine. It had a generic mountain wallpaper and a notification badge of 47. I don't know why I unlocked it. Habit, maybe? Or the part of my brain that had been quietly keeping score for months. The passcode was our anniversary. Of course it was. Mark was never creative with passwords. The text thread at the top was with someone saved as M. No full name, just M. I scrolled. There were hundreds of messages, photos, voice notes, location shares. The earliest ones were from almost a year earlier. The most recent was from that morning. Can't wait to see you tonight. Wear the blue one. I sat on the kitchen floor with the phone in my hands and felt the kind of cold that starts in your stomach and moves outward. Not dramatic sobbing, just a flat clinical understanding that the man in the shower had been living a second schedule I knew nothing about. I didn't confront him that night. I put the phone back exactly as I found it, charged my laptop with a different cable, and made dinner. We ate. We watched half a show. He said he was tired from the client meeting. I said I understood. When he went to sleep, I lay awake and started building a quiet, methodical plan. I have always been good at systems. It's why I'm decent at my job. So I treated the situation like a project with incomplete data. Over the next 2 weeks, I became a part-time detective in my own marriage. I checked the phone whenever I could, early mornings while he showered, evenings when he left it charging in the office so it wouldn't disturb us. I learned that M was a woman named Mia. She worked at a marketing agency 2 towns over. She was 29, divorced, no kids. They met at a conference the previous spring. What started as professional networking became hotel rooms, then regular Tuesday and Thursday nights, then weekends when Mark claimed he had to cover the Northern Territory. They had a shared Google Calendar under a dummy account. They had a joint Spotify playlist. They had inside jokes about the coffee at the Marriott and a running argument about whether pineapple belonged on pizza. They had plans, real ones. Mark had talked about introducing her to his sister when the timing was right. He had talked about the house, our house, as something he would need to figure out. The craziest part wasn't the sex, it was the domesticity of it. He was building a parallel ordinary life with someone else while still showing up for the original one like a reliable employee. I kept going to work, I kept making coffee, I kept answering his texts with the same short normal replies. Inside, I was rewriting every memory from the past year, looking for the seams. The weekend he claimed he had a sales retreat in Chicago, there were photos of him and Mia at a cabin 2 hours from our house. The late client dinner, the night of my birthday, he had been with her. The forehead kisses, the way he sometimes stared at his phone with a soft expression I used to think was work stress. I considered the classic options. Confront him. throw his clothes on the lawn, call his mother, post everything on social media, and watch the mutual friends take sides. Hire a lawyer and start the divorce paperwork while the evidence was still hot. All of those felt like scenes from a show, not like something I actually wanted to live through in real time. Instead, I did something quieter and, in hindsight, more unhinged. I started documenting everything. Screenshots, dates, hotel receipts I found in his email once I guessed the password, our dog's name plus the year we got married. We never even had a dog. I opened a separate bank account and began moving small amounts of money. I talked to a divorce attorney on a lunch break without telling anyone, and then I did the thing that still makes me feel slightly insane when I think about it. I decided to meet Mia. Not confront, meet. I found her Instagram. Public. Lots of latte photos and gym selfies and captions about new chapters. I sent a message from a throwaway account that looked like it belonged to a woman interested in collaborating on a marketing project. She answered within an hour. We set a coffee meeting for the following Thursday, one of the days Mark usually claimed to be traveling. I told Mark I had a work dinner that night. He nodded, kissed my forehead, and said he'd probably stay late at the office too. I already knew where he'd actually be. Mia was prettier than I expected, and also more ordinary. She ordered an oat milk cortado and talked fast when she was nervous. I let her talk. I told her my name was Claire and that I was looking for someone to help with brand strategy for a small logistics firm. She was bright, funny. She mentioned, almost casually, that she'd been seeing someone for about a year, and that things were getting serious but complicated. I asked what complicated meant. She hesitated, then said the man was still married. Separating soon, though. He just needed time to handle the logistics with his wife. No kids, which made it cleaner. She looked almost relieved, saying it out loud to a stranger. I sat there and felt something shift. Not rage, exactly. Something colder and more precise. She wasn't a cartoon homewrecker. She was a woman who had been sold a story about a marriage that was already over, and she had believed it because it was convenient and because Mark is very good at sounding sincere. I paid for the coffees. I told her I'd be in touch about the project. I never messaged her again from that account. That night, I went home and waited. Mark came in at 11:40 smelling faintly of the hotel shampoo they both preferred. He asked how my dinner was. I said it was fine. Then I put the second phone on the kitchen table between us and said very calmly, "We need to talk about Mia." The look on his face was the most honest thing I'd seen from him in months. Pure, blank panic. He started with the classics. "It's not what you think. It didn't mean anything. I was going to tell you. We were already drifting. You're overreacting." By the third sentence, he was crying. By the fifth, he was trying to hold my hands. I let him talk until the explanations ran out, and all that was left was the fact that he had been carefully, consistently lying to both of us for almost a year. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I told him he had until the end of the week to move out. I told him I already had a lawyer. I told him I had copies of everything. Then I went upstairs, locked the bedroom door, and slept in our bed alone for the first time in a way that felt permanent. The following days were quieter than the movies prepare you for. He packed. He apologized in long, looping texts. He tried to explain that he had fallen into something and didn't know how to stop. Mia called me once. Mark had told her everything in a panic, and she cried on the phone and said she had no idea I still thought the marriage was real. I believed her. That almost made it worse. We sold the house 6 months later. I kept the furniture I actually liked and bought a smaller place closer to work. Mark lives in an apartment across town now. He and Mia lasted another 4 months after the truth came out, then split. Last I heard, she's dating someone new. Mark has tried more than once to have a real conversation about what we both contributed to the breakdown. I decline. Some conversations don't need to happen twice. People ask if I'm angry. Sometimes. Mostly I feel a strange, exhausted clarity. The life I thought I was living had been partially fictional for longer than I realized. Once you see the seams, you can't unsee them. The forehead kisses, the carefully timed work trips, the way he used our actual anniversary as a password for the phone that contained the other version of his life. I still catch myself writing the old version of events in my head, the version where we were just busy, just stressed, just going through a phase. Then I remember the shared calendar and the blue dress, and the fact that he had already started introducing her carefully to the idea of a future that didn't include me. I'm dating again, cautiously. I tell the new people the short version early. Some of them flinch, some of them get it. I'm not looking for a perfect story. I'm looking for one that doesn't require a second phone and a dummy calendar to keep running. If there's a moral, I haven't found a clean one yet. Only this. The most dangerous lies aren't the dramatic ones. They're the ones that fit so neatly into ordinary days that you stop noticing the shape of the absence until the absence is all that's left.